see.
It says live now. Before it just said recording.
Yeah.
So we're halfway there. People.
As soon as we see people coming in.
Yep, it says live on my YouTube as well.
Okay.
So that should generate some people in momentarily, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
And I just got the Kevin Pearpoint just sent me. Are you guys not seeing the stream? Just started. And there he is, Kevin. Good to see you, buddy. I was just going to reply to your email.
It's been a while.
Took us a minute to figure things out.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, we missed you too. It'd been when's the last time we streamed?
It's been a while.
July?
Yeah, it's been the summer.
June,
yeah, I mean, we took, hey, Life, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we took a giant-sized Who Shot JR interrupted by writer's strike summer vacation. I mean, that's what caused that to take off, was that you went into fall hiatus, and then there was a writer's strike. So we couldn't find out Who Shot JR forever, and then likewise, we had to wait forever to come back with the 3-view mirror, but we're back.
Yeah, Kevin, I'm letting my hair grow out. It's in an awkward phase right now, but I'm letting it grow out just a little bit. So I'm trying to get it all out there.
You got the Lori Petty look right now.
I wanted to get down a little bit further, you know what I mean? But like, you try to grow out a pixie cut, and there's some awkwardness that kind of goes in there. All the girls that are in here will absolutely, if you've ever had a pixie cut, will absolutely be able to relate to that. You guys just put on a hat. See if
we got some people in here. All right. We are live. Jebediah, how are you? No, we're not looking too much like Memorex. We got a lot of stuff. Wirehead, what's going on? We missed you guys too. Yeah. Look at Life asking the question we needed. How's my Gen X family? And dude, we're bringing the band back together again. It's been a minute, but now's as good a time as any to welcome you all to the 3-View Mirror. The podcast, the television show, the virtually live show with a virtually live studio audience, a place where once again we're going to get together every single week. Tentatively, Monday nights, right around 7 p.m. Shell, me, Chris, all of you guys, filming live in front of a studio audience and talking every week about 3 different topics. The 3-View Mirror. 3 topics that touch on the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And somehow, without Googling it, without accessing ChatGPT, without running to the card catalog or Encyclopedia Britannica, you've got to figure out, along with the rest of us, what connects those 3 topics. Only our host every week knows for sure. And at the end of the hour, we'll ask for input from our live studio audience and from our co-hosts to find out if they could figure out what the connection was. Now, my name is John Katrides, better known as Gen X Jono, and I'm joined with 2 of my best friends and favorite co-hosts. Shell, say hello.
Hey, everyone. It's me again. I'm back. Rochelle O'Black. Same as usual. Even though we've been off here for like how many months, not much has changed, but we're happy. Happy to be here. Happy to be back talking to everybody.
Yep. And I'm Chris Clues. I am a keynote speaker author that focuses on the life and work lessons we can learn from 80s pop culture. So hopefully I'll be in your town at some point speaking. I have a very busy schedule, thankfully, for 2026 already created. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm excited to be back with all of you because I missed everybody. I really miss this. I don't like to use the word need a lot, but I do need all of you and my 2 co-hosts in my life to make it feel complete.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, and everybody, right before we had gone on our hiatus, John kept asking me, like, when am I launching my podcast and all that other stuff. I officially did. It's still slow going, but I officially launched my podcast, by the way. It's called The Second Act Playbook, and I do have to put a little plug in for that. You can still find me. My channels are switching over. You'll find it. You'll find me slowly switching over some of my content towards the Second Act Playbook, and it's all about Gen X and where we're at today. So it's still a Gen X focused channel, but it is a little less nostalgic and a little bit more about us today, looking back, kind of like the 3V Mirror does.
All right, guys, and this is the 3V Mirror podcast. Now, the fun thing about today is I get to be your host, and I put this together at the last moment. Alinda, I saw you were asking where I was with the live yesterday. Took me a little while to get back from downtown Charlotte, uptown Charlotte, from the Bills game yesterday. Go Bills, where we did in fact win. So I didn't get back in time to launch the Sunday Night Wonderful World of Gen X, which is on my Facebook page and my YouTube page every Sunday at 8 p.m. There's my plug. Chris will give you one at the end. But all right, we're running late. Let's get started. I've got 3 great topics. Actually, there's a last-minute change while you all were talking. But the topics today are Johnny Depp, 1984.
What?
And This Is Your Brain on Drugs. Johnny Depp, 1984. This Is Your Brain on Drugs.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait. Kevin just said Dawn is shelling it.
Oh, I almost shelled it. I'll be honest. My second connection did not tie, and I thought it did, and I caught it at the last second. And I'm like, I am not starting that way. Now they all connect directly. Johnny Depp, George Orwell, or 1984, and This Is Your Brain on Drugs. Where would you all like to start? How about Johnny Depp?
Let's start with Johnny Depp. I absolutely love him.
In the year 1984, like the movies and the music.
You can listen. You can go anywhere you want with it. Let's actually start there because that's a good way to introduce it. We'll go with 1984. Now, the reason I did it is I actually was looking at this book. Somebody's kids reading it, and they called up and asked if I read it when I was in school. Dude, 1984 got here. It just took till 2025 to get here. The world we live in. Do you guys remember reading Orwell's 1984? Do you remember reading Aldous Huxley's Brave New World? There were so many of these dystopian books that we had to read as kids.
I do, but it's almost like I need a Cliff Note summary of 1984 because I read it. I mean, I read so many books as a kid. It's like I need a Cliff Note summary of it, though.
Chris, while I'm doing that, what do you think?
It's been a minute.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is what I think about the books that we were reading when we were younger. I feel like they gave them to us before we were ready. So, in 8th grade, they were giving us Romeo and Juliet. I'm like, what? Or giving us Shakespeare. I'm like, how am I supposed to interpret this? I don't even understand what this dude is saying. It's supposed to be my language, but I have no idea what they're saying. Like, give me something like, I don't know. Like, I would have rather have read The Outsiders.
And I never had a problem with the books. Trigonometry I didn't like, but you could throw any of these at me, and I lived for it. So 1984 is a dystopian novel. Followed our boy Winston Smith around against a totalitarian state. Now, we're not going to talk politics today, but just the generalization of a world where Big Brother is always watching.
That's right. Okay.
And that was 1984. It was a world of control. Where anything you do, there's the ministry of truth. There's Big Brother watching. There is people basically being like subjugated through feel-good hormones. I mean, honestly, it's just tells us it's where jail was better than free. It was a world where everything was right there. It was all being watched, all being videotaped. You were on camera 24/7. And what are we all doing today?
On camera 24/7. Hey, Chick just said it. I was confusing, like some of the books just blended in my brain because I read Animal Farm. I was confusing Fahrenheit 451 in my brain with 1984. But now, as soon as you said Big Brother, I was like, yep, okay, no, wait, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think we are under a state of Big Brother. I mean, all of us, we try to keep things, like, I know I have family members that are like, oh, I don't want my information out there on the internet. And I'm like, your information is already out there on the internet. And if anybody wanted to find you, that it's as easy as pie to find you.
Did you just
Chris?
say easy as pie?
Easy as pie.
I did.
Did you just say easy as pie?
Easy as pie.
You're going to
We all know how I grew up.
It's like something my grandmother said.
all know how I grew up.
I think like somebody mentioned Lord of the Flies, and then they mentioned you mentioned Fahrenheit 451. Like I said, all of these books, like the dystopian thing, is nothing new, though. I mean, you can go back to the 1800s, and I mean, even books that were like horror about monsters and stuff were all very dystopian. And then today you have like The Road by Cormac McCarthy. He wrote The Road, I think, in the 60s, and that was creepy. So this whole idea of like dystopian, I keep thinking, whenever we think of Big Brother, I keep going back to the Apple commercial.
Somebody mentioned it.
Oh, somebody mentioned it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it just totally, like, that was the most dystopian commercial.
It was Kevin. Kevin Fairpoint mentioned it.
They're one of my favorites to read. I absolutely love reading dystopian novels, everything from zombies to alien dystopian to, just fall of government, fall of society kind of things. They're absolutely one of my favorite things. I read The Road, and if you've seen the movie was fantastic, but The Road, the book, you can't even compare.
Creepy. Yeah. Yes.
Creepy.
And a different kind of dystopian, though, from 1984.
Yeah, different kind.
Zeroing in, though, I never would have thought. So the whole concept of 1984 is that Big Brother was watching. They were forcing this. We're doing it to ourselves, willingly, happily. We're taking pictures of our food. We're doing fit checks to show people and more the kids than us, but we're guilty of it as well. They're doing fit checks and showing people what they're wearing. They are absolutely going towards this voluntary sharing of every single thing. So much so that I think there's finally there's being pushback. Finally, schools and states are saying no phones in school anymore. That's it. We're done, because everything was being done that way. But yet the schools are still doing a lot of, here's your Chromebook. You're going to learn using videos. It's just weird to me that we did it to ourselves. The government didn't force it. We forced it.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned The Running Man, which actually they're remaking, of course. And then somebody else mentioned Omega Man. Wirehead did. Omega Man was actually kind of remade as that. What was the Will Smith dystopian movie where it was he and his dog? Legend. Legend is basically a remake of Omega Man, which I think came out in the 60s. Wirehead, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was in the 60s, Omega Man. So, yeah, I mean, there's been a fascination with it. And it is kind of strange, though, that they handed us that book when we were like in 8th grade. I think I got it in 8th grade. Like, what?
Oh, see, for me, it was high school.
High school? Okay.
Yeah, mine was definitely high school. So, but you have to remember, Orwell wrote that between 46 and 49. And I read it in probably 84. I was probably a freshman. If not 84, then 85. And it was really weird reading something written 40 years prior and reading it in the era that it was supposed to foretell. And now looking back another 40 years, so 40 years from the time that it was written to the time that I read it, and it took another 40 years for me to think that, Jesus Christ, it's actually here now. I don't think it was here in 1984. I think it's here now.
Yeah. Yeah. And in 1984, it seemed like, no, that's not possible. That's not going to happen. Most of the dystopian novels that we look at, you're like that. They're not going to burn all the books like Fahrenheit 451. But then you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I don't know. Maybe they will. I don't know, because we don't know what 40 years is going to bring for us. And it's funny because you mentioned how early we listened to some of this stuff. All I have to do is mention Flowers in the Attic to any of the girls out there. Like, we all read that. We weren't even out of elementary school when we read Flowers in the Attic. And, Soylent Green. Yeah, we're living in Soylent.
Uh-oh.
That shall said too much.
Right now, if you take a look at some of your groceries.
Big Brother took you down. You were speaking the truth, so the Ministry of Truth paused you. You got taken out there for a second.
Soylent Green is people.
If you listen to like Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall, like that whole thing is kind of about Big Brother 1984. So there's a lot of songs about it as well.
All right, is anyone doing that today, though? So in 46, somebody wrote about 1984. Is anybody today writing about 1962 or 2062?
Oh yeah, there's so
I
many.
think we've lost the ability to predict the future. I don't think we can. I personally speaking, I can't stretch my mind to see anything I think is bad. Like where AI is going to go, my mind immediately goes Skynet. I mean, I can't imagine what we have today turning into something good tomorrow. It all leads to hell.
Skynet's one of the big things that we think about, but even those movies that the ones that were real popular there with the series, and everybody wore different colors to indicate their class. The what?
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. I mean, and those were sort of like futuristic kind of a thing. I mean, I don't know, could they happen? I guess I don't know.
I think it's hard for them. I shouldn't say it's hard for them, but I think it's becoming more difficult to say this is set in 2100, this is set in 2150, because our technology is at a point now where we are talking about AI and what the possibility of AI. But to your point, John, we all feel like the next thing for AI is Skynet, or Ex Machina, where it comes to life and it decides it doesn't like us anymore. So how do you put a number on that? Where I think in the 40s, the 30s, the 40s, even like the 1890s, 1900, they're looking at the year 2000 and beyond and thinking, we're going to be like the Jetsons. I mean, we're going to be flying around on everything. And that didn't happen. So it was, I don't know, like how do you, when you're writing something in 1946, the television is just coming out. It's been radio. There's no computers. Air travel obviously for very wealthy people, but there wasn't a whole lot. So they're like looking and saying, what will it look like 100 years from now or 50 years from now? Can you imagine where we'll be? I just don't know that we're looking at how big of a leap we can make in 100 years.
I don't know.
But
I can tell you that although we can't leap, we might be able to jump. And by jump, I mean 21 Jump Street, which brings us to the next topic. I'm cutting right over because I'm going to keep us on track. We're going to go to Johnny Depp. And that's probably the first time I came across him. Somebody mentioned Platoon. I actually don't remember Johnny Depp in Platoon, but somebody mentioned he was there. I remember him in 21 Jump Street.
What about Nightmare on Elm Street?
Nightmare on Elm Street as well.
That's where I first saw him. But I didn't know that.
But I didn't know about Johnny Depp and Nightmare on Elm Street until Johnny Depp became a thing later. And then you go back and go, wait a minute. I remember the bloody bed scene. Okay, that was Johnny Depp. Most of us didn't really know because that was, I don't know, was that his first film? It was early.
It was early.
It was early.
Bloody bed though, huh? Yeah, well, I don't see Johnny Depp listed. Who was it that said Platoon?
I don't know.
There. He's Gator Lerner. I'm wrong. He's right there. He's the fourth person listed.
In Platoon?
Yes, I never watched Platoon, but I don't remember that.
Willem Dafoe, Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger, and then there it is, Johnny Depp as Gator Lerner.
I didn't realize
that.
I mean, Johnny Depp, there's very few actors and actresses when you look at their career and you look at all the different types of characters. And the one thing I always admired about a guy like Johnny Depp is that he decided he wasn't going to trade on his looks. His looks got him there, but then he was like, no, you know what? I'm going to play these crazy characters like Edward Scissorhands, which was amazing. That's one of my favorite movies, Edward Scissorhands. I love it. I watch it every Christmas. But he did The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which is awesome. If you haven't seen that, is him as Ichabod Crane.
I forgot about that one.
And it was just on the other day. It's so good because it's Tim Burton. I think it was Tim Burton. Maybe it was the Hughes brothers. Both of them are good.
Scissorhands with Tim Burton, and so was Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Christmas, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Nightmare
Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas, yeah.
So, but Pirates of the Caribbean, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Edward Scissorhands, Nightmare on Elm Street, Alice in Wonderland, Sweeney Todd, Sleepy Hollow, Gilbert Grape, one of my all-time favorite. Like that movie, Leonardo DiCaprio did an Oscar-worthy performance in that.
Absolutely.
You've got Platoon, you've got Corpse Bride, Dark Shadows. It goes on and on and on. Blow, Cry Baby.
Blow was. I love that movie. Blow was amazing. We just actually rewatched that probably about a month ago. Pee Wee Herman. In that, that movie was amazing.
What was the, so I was listening to the guy, Donnie Brasco, right? So Johnny Depp plays Donnie Brasco, the guy that went undercover with the mob. And he was on a podcast, The Real Donnie Brasco, and I was listening to him, and he was talking about like what you don't know about Johnny Depp, like how his wife was sick and Johnny Depp was at the hospital with her. Mm-hmm. He like became part of their family. He hangs out with his kids, like just became like a friend. And he said that's, so unusual, obviously, in Hollywood. He's like, I'm this guy who just like went undercover with the mob, which is pretty awesome anyway. But he did this thing, and he just said that he became very close to them, good friends, are still friends to this day. And when you think about all the different characters that he played, from Donnie Brasco to Edward Scissorhands, it's awesome. Crybaby was filmed at my middle school.
Yeah. Was it really? Benny and June, another good one.
Yeah.
You simultaneously back to back the words out of your mouth, Shell. The bloody bed, and then I love blow.
I know. I read the comment and I'm laughing. I'm like listening to Chris at the same time, and I'm like, just the stuff that comes out of my mouth. Sometimes I'm like, "What are you saying, Shell? Stop it!"
There's no stopping you.
No, not Blow, the Pirates of the Caribbean. I can remember people being so upset because I think the first one he was nominated for Best Actor, and people were like, that's not really a Best Actor kind of thing. But if you really take a look at that character that he created there, and that character went through how many reiterations, how many sequels were there? I don't even know. He was amazing. He was not Johnny Depp. He was Captain.
Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow. Yeah.
Good. He's so good.
He's so good. And
watch Sleepy Hollow again, and you'll see how good he is, because you're like, this is Johnny Depp, and he's playing this nerdy kind of like. He's great.
He's great.
And he also, he's been in bands. So he's talented in singing, and he also owned the Viper Room, where you got to remember that's where we lost River Phoenix. I mean, that was the whole '90s scene. So we remember Johnny Depp, I think, in a lot of different ways. He was the pretty boy from Nightmare on Elm Street years, from Jump Street. He was that good-looking guy who, to your point, Chris, didn't trade on his looks. But then he morphed into so many different things. He had his own band. He was running around with an alternative version of the Brat Pack. But instead of these pretty kids, it was the Johnny Depp. It was River Phoenix. It was the Viper Room crowd. I mean, I remember that. When I think of him, I remember him being connected to all of that, too.
Yeah. And speaking of the connections, somebody in there mentioned, Amber Heard and all that other stuff. I've never watched anything like live celebrity, like courtroom drama, other than maybe OJ. Okay, way back when. Speaking of like what, 1980. The 1980s. I can't remember the year that happened either. But I actually watched that because I don't know. He fascinates me. There's something about him that I find a tenderness to him. I don't know. I see him as a tender human being. And I don't know why.
I don't know. I think he's just an interesting human.
Yeah.
And you have to be different to do the kind of roles that he did and actually pull them off. And the Jack Sparrow thing, Disney was not happy when they saw the first cut of him doing Jack Sparrow. They're like, what?
Really?
Not a pirate. And yeah. And because he was, he had used, who did he use as a model for it? Was it Mick Jagger or
I can see that
somebody like very like the way he moved and everything? And I remember my dad went to see it before I did, and you got to know the background of my dad. He was a director, producer. He had a small company, so he looks at movies in a different way. And he saw the trailer and he's like, I don't know, man. This is like, and he went to see it and he came out of the theater and he told me, he said, this movie would not have worked if he didn't play Jack Sparrow the way he played him. It was, he just knew it was the right way to play him, and nobody told him how to play it. He just did it. And
Vista Lights is Keith Richards.
Thanks. Yeah.
I could see Keith
I could
Richards.
see that.
Yeah. Being the inspo on that one. Yeah.
So here's some info you probably didn't know. We talked about where we first saw Johnny Depp. Well, if you were lucky enough to have seen him as a teen, you would have seen his punk rock new wave band called The Kids open up for Iggy Pop Duran Duran, and the B-52s, among others.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Isn't that cool?
Pretty cool.
It is
yeah.
cool.
Wait, Kevin, you mentioned I thought Sparrow was Calico Jack Rackham. That actually makes a lot of sense too. If you haven't seen the show Black Sails, if you don't know a lot about pirates, it sounds like Kevin does. I love the whole pirate history. But if you go back and you watch the show Black Sails, it's on Netflix right now. Highly recommend it. But they tell the story of a lot of these pirates, Anne Bonny, and it's all kind of fictional and real. But Jack Rackham, you can see, yeah, that's actually a good call. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a plug for Black Sails, by the way. Really good show.
He's also in, sort of not directly, but he's responsible for the divorce of Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt.
Why?
Because he turned down the role of John Smith and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Now think of what a different world we would live in if he had kept that role, and then the whole Brad Smith and what's her face thing never would have happened. Brad Pitt. Yeah, they never would have had that movie together. Maybe it never would have happened. Think of that alternate reality if he was Mr. Smith.
Winona.
I forgot about him dating Winona. He had the tattoo.
Yeah, I loved when he was dating her. I love her too, by the way. I think she's awesome.
Yeah, they were actually like, they're kind of, what were they, like late 80s? I guess, yeah, it was Edward Scissorhands, right?
Yeah.
The years start to, somebody else put in there that OJ was 94, and in my brain, OJ was late 80s. It's like it starts to all blend together at some point, and you're like, I have no idea when that happened. Our grandparents, I don't know how they were able to do it. They were like, back in the summer of 1967, and I'm like, I
can't. They
can't
have to remember. They didn't have to remember. We have so much to remember. What they have to remember, our grandparents worked 80 hours a week, slept 30, ate for 10. What's there to remember?
Yeah.
But I will say it's funny. I do a live trivia show every week here in the Charlotte area. And everybody has a better, easier time remembering 70s and 80s pop culture. Even though the 90s was more recent, people have a really hard time. That's most people, anybody over the age of 40 seems to have a harder time with that. It's just weird. I don't know.
I think it's because we were in our years of we weren't trapped in the 70s and 80s,
Probably.
in the schools and in the TVs, and there was nothing else to do. In the 90s, we were set into careers and college and exploring our own worlds. And I think a lot of us miss things like, certain movies or certain things that we just don't even go back and look at, like The Princess Bride.
I agree with that.
And The Princess Bride, was that in the 90s? That's why I missed The Princess Bride, which everybody always gives me hell for.
Well,
No, that was the 80s. You should have been there.
I also think
should have been there.
the 70s and the 80s have a feel. In the 90s, like if I ask people, like what does the 90s feel like? People will tell me, grunge. Okay, but that was like 2 or 3 years. Like, give me something else. Like,
I don't know. For me, the 90s, the emerging tech really epitomized the 90s for me. It feels like me running around with a pager and then a Motorola. It feels like me sitting up all night trying to cue Napster to be able to record the 15 songs that I want to include on my little. There's a bit of a vibe there for me. I really love the 90s.
Pop culture, though. How do you describe the pop culture in the 90s?
It's that. It's the tech takes a big place. It's Blockbuster Video was 90s for me. That's a big part. You're wearing the hat. That's what got me there. That was a big part.
I wanted to make sure I wore it just for you because I know how much you hate it.
I don't hate the hat. I hate the way you bend your brim.
I can't bend it. It's not, this material doesn't bend like your Buffalo Bills hat. If I try to bend it, it makes like a.
I see it now. Peak.
A tent.
Like a V.
All right. So that we've talked about Johnny Depp. We've talked about 1984. I feel we could have talked a little bit more about what the 80s felt like, but we talked about the book 1984. And we always talk about the years of the 80s anyway. And now finally I want to end with This Is Your Brain on Drugs. Because we can talk about that. That one comes back a lot. Every time I talk about public service announcements, PSAs, my followers this is the first one that's going to come up. Oh, do you remember This Is Your Brain and This Is Your Brain on Drugs? That one, and it's 10 or 11 p.m., depending on where you grew up. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah.
But those are just 2 out of so many. So many.
Mine is who taught you how to do this?
You, Dad.
I learned this from you, Dad.
If you use drugs, you have kids who use drugs. I mean, yeah. How about you, Chris? Give me one.
Drugs.
I go back to the 70s with Mr. Yuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mr. Yuck is mean. Mr. Yuck is green. Unfortunately, I liked Mr. Yuck, and so my parents got the Mr. Yuck stickers. Like everybody got them in the mail. I think like the state sent them to you. Like, put these on your, and I drank like something under the kitchen counter because I liked Mr. Yuck. There you go. Yes, Mr. Yuck means no. Stay away.
But what's funny, so we got them handed to us in school, a big sheet, and most of them never even made it home. They ended up on our Trapper Keeper. People use, but the irony was they didn't send them home with their parents with a long list of instructions. They gave them to us and said, "Put this on things that are dangerous." You're missing a step here. If we know what things are dangerous, then we're no longer of an age where we need the sticker. I mean, they just always did that. But yeah, this was one. Bugs Bunny, keep those pot handles turned in. You know, because of the coil and that one.
Yeah.
Dude, let's see. I learned it by watching you.
I'm gonna say this though, John. There was whenever I was teaching, you know, and I haven't taught for like 18 years. Okay. I've been out of the classroom. So there was McDonald's used to have those hot and fresh just for you stickers that they used to put on top of their like wraps, sandwiches and stuff like that. And my school had to actually ban those because then what they would do they would take put them on the girls' lockers that were, hot and fresh. And
Hey, Doreen, good to see you.
Reminded me of the Mr. Yuck stickers being given out at school, innocently enough, and then you go and because you like Mr. Yuck, you drink the stuff,
Why?
Yeah.
Why did we have public? I don't see them nearly as much now on TV. I don't see them interrupting videos on YouTube. I don't see them coming on in the middle of TikToks. So, some people are like, well, there's not TV, so that's why. But no, they could insert them in every aspect of social media if someone chose to. Why don't we need to anymore? If we ever did.
I think part of it was, we were the latchkey kids. And they recognized like a lot of the kids, both the parents worked or they had single moms. What's happening? What did I miss?
You didn't miss. What did I do?
He's like, you mean slut show? And I'm like, yeah, I didn't want to say it, but
what?
What?
Like, he goes, Joe, don't you mean sluts? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
I missed the whole thing.
I did too. Apparently, life on two wheels, and Shell had something going on here regarding. I don't know. There it is. Man.
I mean, I think this because we were latchkey kids and we were the first generation, like coming home and nobody was there, and so I feel like maybe they felt like they had to reach us in some way to get to us, so they could, teach us whatever they wanted to. I guess what they thought was right.
I mean, TV kept me alive. I learned so much, and not just PSAs. I've got a mug that says I was homeschooled, and it's got the Schoolhouse Rock stuff on there. It taught me. It taught me what to watch out for. It taught me how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whatever. For a generation that played around outside, listen, we wouldn't know so much about pop culture. We wouldn't remember every commercial. We wouldn't be able to quote all these PSAs if we didn't spend a significant amount of time in front of the boom tube, a screen of our own. So sometimes when I'm like, oh, these kids today are on their screens, I'm like, dude, take it easy. I was on screens plenty, just one, and it weighed 3 tons in the middle of my living room.
Yeah, sitting down, crisscross applesauce, only that's not how we said it. So.
Right.
There would be something. There's something to be said for just taking the warning labels off of everything and just letting it sort itself out.
Yeah, there's something to be said for Darwin, letting Darwin have his way.
I said something about letting Darwinism win, but I
just
said about just taking the labels off. Did you know actually that Pee Wee Herman did a PSA about crack?
Yes, crack is. I've used that one. I think he said, did he say crack is whack, or was that just Whitney?
No, he said the thrill can kill.
Oh, something like that. Who else? The whole crack thing was a big one. Go ahead, make my day. Well, Clint Eastwood made one too, specific to crack. Nancy Reagan, people mentioned her Just Say No, which is really, really that's all the effort the administration was willing to put in. Just say no. No education, no, incentive, no huge program. Literally, the entire plan was just telling us to say no, like that ever worked for anything.
Yeah.
And they had She-Ra and He-Man did one on like inappropriate touching.
Yeah. brother and sister.
Go ahead.
We were preached to a lot, I think, because everybody knew that nobody was home to preach to us at the same time. Like you said about being latchkey kids, no one was home to teach us these kids stuff. So I think, public broadcasters are like, look at these son of a bitchin' kids running around. We got to do something about this, And it was like all the boomers are going, we got to put some PSAs out there. And that's what we got. We got the PSAs that told us, dare, it was
look at these savages running around. We got to get them under control. Like
they became part of pop culture. I can't look at an egg frying in a pan without thinking of that message. Somebody did a meme, and I made a version of it. Other people have, where it's just the frying pan and an egg, and it's like in school I learned this was your brain. Yeah, the egg was the brain. What's going on, Scott? The frying egg was your brain on drugs. And then there was the one, then MTV took up one and did another version of it. And I don't remember who was on it. It was some woman, some girl. And she's like, this your brain. But she took it to a whole new level. She's like then using the frying pan to like trash everything in the house, basically saying that drugs will ruin everything. Was it Juliette Lewis?
I don't know. I can remember watching a woman, she was beautiful, and then she started taking off her makeup and taking out her teeth, and she was like, she was a classic crack whore. You know what I mean? Like, and all the girls were supposed to be like, oh, I don't want to do crack because I don't want to look like that. Crack is whack. Like, it's funny that you say that because you remember those things stuck with us. They really did.
I will say that. Listen, some of them were ridiculous. But some of them were actually pretty good. I mean, you've got like Smokey Bear, only you can prevent forest fires. And, what was the owl? Give a hoot, don't pollute.
Crying Indian.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was Rachel Lee Cook, by the way.
Now, but what?
It was Rachel Lee Cook.
This is what your body goes through. Wait, it's not over yet. This is what
I remember that one.
Okay, so that was like an upgrade right there.
Yeah.
So apparently we didn't get the message with simply the egg. They brought Rachel Lee Cook in to destroy everything in the house.
Yeah, some of them were ridiculous, but some of them actually, like I said, the give a hoot, don't pollute, that was a pretty good one. And they made us remember whether they worked or not. They definitely were memorable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it started a conversation. Even if we're just joking about it in school the next day, it brought the conversation to the forefront. There's no doubt about it.
But you asked the question, John. You said, why don't we see them today? And now, on the point of the fact that even commercials are not something that we see today and so on. And there's so many kids aren't captivated. We don't sit and watch a show beginning to end. They're binging and then getting up during commercials if they're forced to even watch commercials in the first place. We were forced. Okay.
Right.
But the
purpose of the PSA, you don't think kids could use it today? Like I said, they could have it come in the middle of a YouTube video. It could interrupt a TikTok.
I agree, but I think that I'm actually asking the audience here because I don't have an answer to it about why don't we see it? I mentioned the crying. I did not know he was an Italian. I said, the crying Indian. But why don't we see it? Why aren't there more PSAs now? Because I think some of the kids could use some of that, or unless they would make fun of it, unless they're jilted towards it now. I don't know.
Unless the PSA said what Kristen said, I hate cocaine, but I love the smell of it.
I love blow.
Cocaine smell?
No, think about it. I hate cocaine.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, that shows. Now you know about me. Listen, I Diet Coke and a Mountain Dew set me off. God forbid I ever did cocaine, my head would probably explode. I think kids are jaded. I think they think they know more than they know, that they have access to all information. So to be spoon-fed it in that manner, probably they would see it as beneath them. And parents are home again, or at least someone is. They're in daycare, they're in school. There are adults in kids' lives that I guess can take up that message now. We got home from school alone. We got ready for school alone. We were out there on the streets alone. So maybe we needed it more.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
Brenda mentioned they do have the ones about smoking still, and I mean,
Well, and that brings up Scott's point. There's money in that.
well, but I mean, it was from the big lawsuit that they had
Right.
with tobacco, but still, they're. I would argue that they're fairly powerful commercials. As somebody who used to do advertising, some of them where you're like, see the person to Shell's point, like it can get a little overboard with the girl with the crack and everything, but when you see somebody who's like, I'm talking through this tube now, like they're very in your face. For us, they use the frying pan with eggs.
Yeah.
Now we're like, here's a person.
I will tell you, the smoking ones have been proven not to work. And I can tell you, as a former smoker, I would see those commercials and it would trigger me to go have a cigarette because it would remind me I haven't had a cigarette in an hour. We have this "it'll never happen to me" mentality. That's someone else. I don't know a better way to do it. I think they're well intentioned, and it might keep somebody from starting to smoke, but they've proven that they never helped anybody quit smoking. And I guess the same thing would be true of drugs. If I'm completely dependent upon heroin or crack or cocaine, and I see someone break open an egg, I'm probably not going to put myself in rehab, but it might prevent me from starting.
And maybe the news does enough of a job in covering it now. I don't think the news covered a lot of that stuff now. I mean, I've had a talk with my kids because just the lacing of some of the stuff that they have now, like you could innocently decide you were going to do some less, do some lesser drug or something, and it could be laced with fentanyl or something.
Such as, like, what do you normally worry about?
All of them, but I mean, like something could have fentanyl in it. You know what I mean?
Like the gummies. Maybe somebody put something in your gummies, and you think you're just having something. Yeah, I could see that. I didn't understand where you were going.
Yeah. No, that, and that's been on the news, and the news has then, I think, shocked the parents enough that we are now sending that message, I think, to our kids.
And the kids mock it. My wife, we have the family chat thread. I'm sure everybody with kids probably has one. So there's a text thread we have. And my wife is the queen of posting, whatever she comes across. Oh, these candies that look like mints are late. And then my oldest daughter will put Debbie Downer's face and be like, here comes Debbie. Wah, wah.
Well, I think also that somebody mentioned, maybe you mentioned it, Shell, but it just the idea that there's so much information out there now. So for us back in the 80s, there was a limited amount of ways to get your information. I mean, there was a limited amount of television. There was a limited amount of movies, ways to watch movies, a limited amount of way to get content. But then, John, you mentioned earlier, there's no ads on social media, but there doesn't have to be because these kids are seeing videos of a drunk driving accident after the fact. They're seeing everything right now. So the PSAs, do they even really work anymore? Because the PSA is what they're actually scrolling through.
Yeah.
So they're seeing this hand.
Obviously, we just saw, I put it on the screen. We even had a very special episode in our sitcoms. And those are basically 30-minute long PSAs using actors we're familiar with, warning us of the dangers of drinking on facts of life, on child whatever, on different strokes, staying out of a refrigerator in Punky Brewster.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox did something too on Family Ties.
Well, Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was his uncle alcoholic that sent him flying across the room.
Yeah.
Uncle Ned. How the hell did I remember that? Uncle Ned.
I don't know. Isn't it funny how we remember weird little things in our head, but then we can't remember the main stuff? It's just strange.
I can't remember where I left my keys. But also there were movies that were PSAs. Like the movie My Bodyguard that came out in 1980 was a PSA on bullying. The entire movie is about bullying and how bad it is. It's a great movie, but the entire movie was a PSA on bullying, essentially.
We just saw My Bodyguard with my kids, and my youngest was really upset by it. Like when was it Vincent D'Onofrio?
It's Chris Makepeace, Matt Dillon, Adam Baldwin.
Adam Baldwin's character is the protector, but he's anti-violent. He doesn't want to hit anybody. And so he ends up getting beat up, and my daughters were so upset. They're like, why didn't he do something? When Matthew Perry died on Family Ties, Kevin's right. That was Growing Pains, drunk driving accident.
But that just triggered me then. That's it. We saw a character die on a sitcom and on a TV show. These kids today saw Matthew Perry die in a hot tub.
Yeah.
They saw the news about this. and the reason for the death, so
I don't know if that, I think that causes this desensitization almost.
oh,
I think they become desensitized to it. We just saw what we saw across video. Thankfully, I avoided that video somehow. But we saw someone's life. No matter how you feel about anything politically, we saw someone's life taken away from them. A lot of kids saw that actual scene play out. That's something that we had a lot of stuff come at us as kids. Okay. Yeah. I get that. I truly believed the world would end in a mushroom cloud. As a kid, I believed it was coming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know that it equals what these kids are being faced with, and what these kids are seeing is literally too much. So much so that I think it shuts them down. I don't think they acknowledge it. I don't think they deal with it. I don't think a human's brain can. I don't think it's built to. I don't think we're supposed to see these things.
Well, we saw. There were people who died that were young and died, like Elvis, for example. Right? Everybody watched Elvis eventually. Like they saw him heading towards that.
Yeah.
But it is. You're right. It's different. Like, is there video of Elvis like on stage everybody's seen, where people watching it? Like that is very different. And even to get access to that footage when it happened, the Challenger is a great example. That was the first time I remember. The two that I remember distinctly from being a kid that would have been on social media within a second, and there would have been all these different angles. The one was Challenger, and for me growing up in Maryland, Lenny Bias, the number one pick for the Boston Celtics, who gets drafted by the Celtics, number one overall, is going to be potentially like a Michael Jordan, and he dies of cocaine that night that he got drafted, the night after. Kurt Cobain's another great example. But imagine if they would have happened today.
Yeah. Well, I think Challenger, they did a pretty good job. I can see the booster rockets. I can see the shape. They drilled that in our heads very much the same way. Yeah. I probably saw that. In my second example would actually be as an adult, 9/11, seeing the images there 24/7 on the news. It was just constant. Yeah. So, my point is, as Scott says, kids become numb to it today. I think we run the risk of becoming numb to it. I think it's just one more way that we are fortunate that PSAs, although quaint, maybe today, they got the job done for a lot of us. It did have an impact.
Maybe they should bring them back. Maybe they should. Maybe we should bring them back and do after school specials.
We talked about Johnny Depp. We've talked about 1984. And we've talked about PSAs in general, but specifically, this is your brain on drugs. Any idea where this brain, not on drugs, might be trying to take you guys?
Not a clue.
Not a clue?
No, because I don't know who starred in that brain on drugs commercial, even though I can picture it in my brain. Johnny Depp had such a huge has such a huge catalog of movies and appearances and things. And I see Kevin says Freddy Krueger, which would be Robert Englund. Linda says Dream Warriors. Freddy Krueger. So Chris, for me, I got nothing. 1984 too.
Well, 1984, Nightmare on Elm Street came out in 1984.
Yep, it did.
And Johnny's in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Johnny was in Nightmare on Elm Street.
But
so was Robert Englund the guy who said that not to be on drugs?
No. Here. Okay. Because you don't know how quickly we had to come up with these topics. I didn't have time to load it. So I'm going to do this old school.
All right, once again. This is your brain.
That's Johnny.
This is your brain on drugs. Questions?
The parody.
It was a scene in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Oh,
so they did a parody. Johnny Depp was flipping the egg with Krueger next to him. That was a parody they did during Dream Warriors, I think was the movie. Linda got it right. So they did that scene. They parodied it. And then Johnny Depp was there. He's knocked out, and Krueger does what Krueger does with Breckin Meyer in that movie, and he takes Breckin Meyer out. Literally, if you see the whole thing, he injects Breckin Meyer with all these drugs and gets him high and all that crap. and kills him. Whichever that movie scene was, that's the one. So Johnny Depp was in a parody of that commercial in the Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
So the connection is Nightmare on Elm Street.
So the connection is Nightmare on Elm Street.
So, but wait, what's Dream Warrior? That's the movie.
It's one of them. It's one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I'm not sure if that was specific. But yeah, Kevin, you're right.
I thought Dream Warrior was a whole nother movie. I've seen every Nightmare on Elm Street. I just do not specifically remember.
Nightmare on Elm Street movie with Breckin Meyer. Final Nightmare 1991. So that's the one. In Breckin Myers, they reprise Johnny Depp. They bring him back. He does that parody commercial. Breckin Myers watching it on late night television. Krueger smacks him in the head, and boom, there we have it.
You know what?
Johnny Depp was in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, which was filmed in 1984, and he actually did a parody of This Is Your Brain on Drugs in one of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Okay.
There's the connection.
I got it. I thought Dream Warrior was a whole nother movie. I was like,
no.
But I don't remember the names of all the different Elm Street movies.
Yeah.
I just remember watching
the connection is the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, but that's it.
Yes.
So,
nice job.
This is great because this is what, with Halloween coming up, this is why, again, I go back to like why the 80s were so great. That if you live in a neighborhood that has a lot of trick-or-treaters, you are going to have a Freddy Krueger, you're going to have a Jason, and you're going to have a Michael Myers. It's almost guaranteed. And
all these years later,
that's what makes the pop culture so awesome.
Yeah.
And I loved the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Robert, I didn't shell this. It's a direct connection. I almost did, let me tell you. But no, the connection is Nightmare on Elm Street because Johnny Depp was in it. It was out on 1984. That was the year. And Johnny Depp reprised the parody of This Is Your Brain on Drugs. It's as clean as it gets. I just said, forget the whole Dream Warrior thing. You have no idea how close I came to shelling it. It would have been so bad. I had to do a quick pivot.
I think you did. I vote you half shelled it. This is a half shell, like a half pipe.
I didn't even eggshell it. This is Your Brain on Drugs. Maybe eggshell.
I like it. Brain on drugs. You half shelled it.
No, because you can't. I think it's great because when you look at Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th or Halloween, if you're going to do a connection, it almost has to be the series because there's so many of them. And what? Go ahead, Shel.
No, I agree with you. That's why I didn't remember the name. I've seen horror is my genre. I love horror movies, so I've seen every horror movie, I swear, in like when you used to go to the box store and look at the front of the box and pick out a movie, we always picked a horror movie. I've seen the B movies and the C movies and the whatever, but I just don't always remember the names of them. And I just absolutely love them. And you have to do them. You're right.
When it comes to Halloween, there was not a Halloween in my late 80s, early 90s that we wouldn't do a horror movie weekend. Somebody would run to Blockbuster. I'm going to get the beer. Keith, you get the pizza. Shell, could you go grab some movies? And you'd go and you'd pick up Nightmare on Elm Street, or you'd pick up one of the Friday the 13th, or maybe you'd come home with April Fool's Day or Leprechaun because the ones you wanted were gone. So you had to go to that second tier. The Phantasm movies, the Hellraiser movies, the Omen movies, The Exorcist.
Chopping block.
Chopping block.
John, wait, listen. I gotta say this. And I have to represent here because people in the audience need to understand that they're probably thinking this too. I'm saying this as a horror movie person. Hellraiser and Omen were not second tier. Those were first tier. Those were gone.
No, I agree. No, what I'm talking about was April Fool's Day, Cutting Class.
Yeah.
Those were the ones that Leprechaun. Absolutely second. Cutting Class, I remember seeing
murders.
My Bloody Valentine.
Big actors did those movies before they became big actors, and then like Leprechaun redid a cut where they put Jennifer Aniston on the cover. She was a very small part, but they knew people would rent it if they saw her. Brad Pitt's first movie was called Cutting Class, and it was a horror movie. And after he made it big, they re-released it on VHS with his face on the box.
Kevin Bacon and Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Depp on Nightmare on Elm Street.
Jamie Lee Curtis, Halloween. I mean, she was, you know. Hellraiser. Brenda says Hellraiser freaked. Hellraiser freaked me out too. Pinhead and those characters. So that author Clive Barker, everybody kind of thought he was going to be the next Stephen King, but I think he was almost like ahead of the time a little bit when it came to the movies, because his movies were like Stephen King's movies were scary in a different way. Clive Barker was like disturbing, dark, demented, like very like the book scared the hell out of me when I read Clive Barker. But I just think he was. I think if his books came out in the 2000s, his movies would have done awesome.
Pumpkinhead movies. Thank you, Linda.
Candyman.
Even the parodies. There were so many like horror movie parodies. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Candyman.
The Blob. I loved the Blob.
The Blob.
The black and white Blob. Even it was so fun to watch. If you were a horror fanatic, you're like, this is so campy and funny.
Chris will say the old school Psycho and those like were scary in a different way. That never scared me at all. But Chris is correct. So many people will point to Hitchcockian horror as even more scary because it leaves things to your imagination to scare you. Apparently my imagination sucks, so I need it all spelled out, right there in front of me.
I say two things about the older ones. One is that if you go back and you watch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's so gritty. Like, it feels real. It feels like a documentary because the way that it's shot, it was a small budget. They really like had to do things in a different way. They didn't have the budget to hire like these special effects artists or anything. So it felt very like real. And then the other thing with those like ones that they scare you with the jump scares. Have you ever seen the movie The Strangers that came out in like 2009? That to me was like very Alfred Hitchcock. Like there was no blood until the very end. They were scaring you with like people like just staring at you with these like with their like the girl with their hair all down, just looking at you with her head sideways. That is the stuff that freaks me out. So like that's a real person just staying in the street, staring at your house at 2 a.m, just looking at you. Like, what are you doing? Why are you staring at my house in the middle of the street at 2 a.m? You're freaking me out. Like that's yeah. Exactly.
And it took years and years to bring Ronald McDonald back. He's finally back in McDonald's commercials. But they took him out during that whole real life scare where people were dressing as clowns and just staring at you on the streets. Remember when there was that whole thing going on?
Right.
Someone mentioned John Carpenter, and I one of my most favorite scary movies of all time is The Thing. The Thing is that movie right there, and the ending where you're like, is the thing alive or is it not alive? Who is the thing? Oh, I could watch that movie over and over again.
Thanks for the ride, lady. I know that one.
Oh,
Grant.
yeah,
I remember that one, Grant. Thanks for the ride, lady.
The ride, lady.
Somebody mentioned Last House on the Left. I think Kristen and someone else did, Kevin. And that was like actually based loosely on a true story. Like those are the ones, I'll tell you.
Those are the ones that got me too.
The Hills Have Eyes. That was a freaky one too. Yeah.
Children of the Corn. I believe that. And then there's the ones that I always refer to as they break the rules. Those are the ones that scared the crap out of me. I felt relatively safe when there were rules that a horror movie had to follow. No kid could be hurt. The dog's not going to be hurt. So you just knew that the kids and the pets at least make it out alive. And then you get Pet Sematary that has Gage bounce off the top of a pickup truck, a semi, no less. And he's slicing Herman Munster's Achilles heel and killing him.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, I'm like, come on. When the animals and the kids die, I'm out. I'm done. I don't like it. I want nothing to do with it.
Listen, if you actually read the book Pet Sematary, might have been one of the scariest books I think I ever read.
I read it.
I loved the book. Malachi. What do you used to say that? Malachi.
Wants you too, Malachi.
Yeah.
I still, when I drive through cornfields, I'm still like a little freaked out. And now, like as an adult, I'm like, okay, now I'm the target. When I was a kid, when that movie came out, like we were the ones in control.
Any blonde kid with a biblical name scares the shit out of me. If there is a toe-headed kid named Malachi, Jedediah, Isaiah, I'm done. My kid was in preschool with an Isaiah, and he was this wonderful boy. But he was as pale as your sweatshirt, Shell. Had one of the and blonde as could be. And I'm like, no. I go, if he has a cornfield anywhere near his house, no.
What creeps me out too is when the kids start singing a song like "Ring Around the Rosy Pocket," and I can't think of what movie they do that in. But every time that they do,
Freddie.
you're like,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Freddie.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock the door. What's 5, 6?
5, 6.
Grab a crucifix.
Yeah.
7, 8, better stay up late.
9, 10.
Never sleep again.
Never sleep again.
Yeah.
See, I told you I've seen them all.
I love them. I love the concept.
Yes.
I thought the concept was genius because we all could have gone to bed after watching one of those movies and had a nightmare where Freddy Krueger came into our nightmares. So we literally would have been in the movie just by dreaming about the movie. I thought that was genius.
It was
probably
genius.
In terms of franchises, probably my favorite horror movie franchise. Friday the 13th I liked for the jump scares. Scream I thought was more intellectually stimulating. It talked about the rules and had some sarcasm. Yeah. But Freddy Krueger, man, as a character, he changed, he adapted. There was a storyline that was given to us one piece at a time as to who Freddy was, why he was killed, the parents killed him. We got all of that, learned who his mother was. Movie by movie by movie. They really pieced it out over time. I thought that was awesome. And on that note, so listen, if you're joining this in replay, if you've sat here live and it's your first time here and you're sitting quietly, you may feel intimidated because we have a usual cast of characters. We have some regulars that will jump into those comments. But I'm telling you, Monday nights, 7 p.m.-ish Eastern time, we take turns. You guys are as big a part of this as we are. Spread the word. I want this to grow. We've talked about it last season. We really mean it this season. We wouldn't have brought this back if we didn't truly enjoy it. But we want it to not be an extension of my page or Shell's page or Chris's books. We want it to be a big thing in and of itself, so that the three of us can tour and maybe do this live in your town. Let people know about it. Share it. Share the Facebook page. And if you're watching, as I said, in replay, come join us live. If you're watching it live but you've been quiet, jump into the comments and be a part of it.
Yeah. Absolutely, because the comments are what makes this show. And that's what we want out of this. We don't want this just to be another podcast where people are just passively listening. This is an active listening thing because Generation X, that's what we did when we were kids. We got together and we did things together. We didn't just listen. We didn't just hang out. We got together and we did things. And that's what makes this show special.
Together.
Together.
Yeah, depending on the time of year, like this is like a great time of year where you're, maybe you were around a bonfire when you were younger, maybe now you're around a fire pit, but this is how, for us, it's like telling stories around the campfire. That for me, that's what it feels like. We're all hanging out. We just need some s'mores and we got, John. S'mores.
You say it as 2-syllable words, s'mores?
Yeah.
It's s'mores.
Amazing.
S'mores.
It's amazing how he says
that.
I say s'mores.
I know you do, and it's wrong. It's s'mores. Yes, it is.
It's s'mores.
Nope. S'mores.
How do you spell it? 2 words?
It's apostrophe, s'mores.
The apostrophe doesn't have a sound, so it's s'mores.
It has a sound for me.
Oh my God.
I said it. S'mores.
Oh,
never say it again.
S'mores.
S'more. You want some more s'mores?
Yes, I want some more s'mores. Yeah, give me s'mores.
Some more. Listen, listen, some more is what we say in Pennsylvania for do you want some
more?
We just say some more.
That's
Some more.
All right, y'all. So that's it. That's our hour. Shell?
Dunkar said something. Dunkar, if we ever do go live, said that, and it was a nice inspirational thing there that said that it's like Generation X got together in someone's basement. And I think if we ever did go live and we had some sort of a tour background, I swear it should be something like the basement that we all hung out in. And, you know, and we that would be a perfect, I think, backdrop for us. If we ever
I've seen Chris do the Silence of the Lambs thing too many times to hang out in a basement with him.
Oh, wait
Do
a
it, Chris.
minute. Wait, is she a really big fat person? That guy?
There it is.
You better say
So before we sign off, Shelley, you've got your podcast going on.
yes.
Released weekly, bi-weekly, quarterly.
It's going to be twice a week. As soon as, because by the way, guys, I've already interviewed John and about 10 other people. I interviewed Chris, I interviewed John, and literally like 10 other people, but I just have to get in there and edit them and put them out there. But yeah, it's going to be every Tuesday and Friday is going to be the release dates of, right now I just have 3 of them out there. Just 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris, what's going on with you?
Yeah, so I have my show every Wednesday night at 8:00 on Facebook Live called the Gen Excellence Show. And each week, I know a few of the people in here have been faithful members of the community. And so each week we talk about the movies and the music that came out during that week, but back in the 80s, amongst other things. We just have fun conversations about Gen X and the things that we were doing back in the day. So.
And for me, you can join me every Sunday night live on the wonderful world of Gen X on my Facebook and YouTube pages at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I will be in Providence, Rhode Island at the Rhode Island Comic-Con, traveling with the Blockbuster Video Experience, and at the Greenville, South Carolina Retro Toy Con, November 21st through the 23rd. So that's up with me. Bo asks, what will we dress up for Halloween?
I forgot about that. I was Peggy Bundy last year.
I'll dress up next week. My costume should be in.
You mean for our show next week on Monday?
Yeah.
After Halloween?
The 2nd. It's still Halloween-ish. Yeah. I guess not, Bo. Next year.
I might have. I mean, I had my costume from last year. I went as Matthew McConaughey Wooderson in Dazed and Confused.
I might wear mine anyway because it's easy to wear. So we'll see. Could be fun.
The pants might be a little tighter, but you know.
I won't be wearing pants. And you'll be asking for some more.
Right now, right?
Some more.
Yeah, I won't be wearing pants, and Chris will be asking for some more. All right, guys, that's it for me. Peace.
See y'all.
Later. Stay rad, everybody.